Hello and welcome to Pivotal People. Today we're going to be speaking to Rishi Jawaheer. Rishi is the Chief Executive Officer at Vison. Hi Rishi, thank you very, very much for coming to see us at Pivotal People.
It's my pleasure, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And really, first of all, I want to know a little bit about what you're doing now. Tell us about your current business. What are you working on and what are you doing at this moment in time?
So I'm the CEO of Vison, and Vison is a digital care management company, and we have a whole spectrum of modules that we offer to the care groups that we work with. And I'm also leading our care group, our family care group, which is called the Jawa Group. We have homes based around London.
Yeah.
So it keeps me busy.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'm from a time, I've worked in care homes. I was a manager nearly 30 years ago in care homes, and I'm from a time of lots of paper records and big files that thick.
Yeah.
And now you've come along and you've turned us into digital. Everything's digitally transformed in care homes now, and it's far easier.
I think technology was late to hit the sector.
Definitely.
And we were slaving away, weren't we, on paper, having to duplicate lots of records. And
nobody reading any of it.
Nobody reading any of it. And then even when you wanted to read it, you couldn't read it because of people's handwriting.
That's right.
And then it was an enormous amount of time. And then what we used to find is that because we were so admin and task focused, that would become the priority. And we wouldn't have that focus on the time with the people that we were supporting. And we would be really busy at trying to get the tasks done, and then maybe at the end of the shift we'd tuck ourselves in the corner of the room and then...
Big stack of files on a trolley, I remember that.
Yeah.
Bring the trolley in with all the files.
And then everyone that we're supporting has had a nice day, they've had a cup of tea in the lounge. We end up writing something very generic for everyone.
Definitely.
When we don't highlight the magic and those magic moments when we have had a really amazing interaction, we've done something, we've made a positive impact. And I think that's where it all leads into maybe the care sector not getting the attention, the recognition that it deserves, because admin and tasks and regulation was always the focus. So it's been really exciting to try and break away from that.
Yeah, and I've seen that in real life. I've seen right back from the days when we had one care plan. The care plan for each person was one A4 sheet, not even on both sides. And very, very little in very little recording really, to now where we've got some great digital platforms out there that support care homes and all care providers.
I think that's the exciting thing. The technology is available now, isn't it? It's there for us to use as an aid to get that admin done, and then focus on the quality of attention with people, which is what we're
and also monitoring systems have become a lot wider used in care homes now than they used to be.
They have. There's lots of safety related systems out there, but then there's the fine line that we walk, right? Because again, when technology comes into a sector, it will have the tendency to dominate and overtake, and then we don't want to be guilty of now staring at devices as opposed to being with the people that we want to. So it's striking that balance, and I think that's where at Vison we've been able to really make a difference because of my provider perspective and understanding it from that way, and not being a geek in a dark room trying to create a system. This is where we're able to really make that difference because we understand what it's like being on the floor. We understand, how to support people.
Yeah, it's a good combination that you do. Okay, so we know where you are now. What we want to know is what's turned you from a young child into a really successful businessman who's creating a fantastic care empire. So start from the beginning and tell me a little bit about your childhood.
So my dad is originally from a beautiful island called Mauritius. My mum is from Sri Lanka. And they both came to the UK in 1970. And they came to work as nurses within the NHS. So I hear all these romantic stories of how they got together. My dad was apparently chased by loads of beautiful nurses and he settled on my mum. And my mum's got another version of that story, which
sure.
I think is the truth.
Yeah.
So they worked their way, through the NHS, and in the early 80s, they were involved in a programme with local authorities and hospital trusts to open up smaller homes in the community when it was recognised that hospitals and institutions are not the best places for long-term care.
Mm-hmm.
So Mum and Dad thought, if we're doing this for others, we can do this ourselves. And I think that was where that entrepreneurial spirit came in. And they purchased a house in Beckenham, Kent, and there my sister, myself, Mum and Dad, we lived in one room at the top of the house. And we started our first care home.
Wow.
And so I grew up in there from the age of about 6. We weren't conscious that we were living in a care home. We were living as a family with 5 uncles and 4 aunties. We would eat together. We would play football together in the garden when my mates would come to hang out. They'd be with my family. So it was an amazing upbringing that we had.
And to have that interaction with those people that you were caring for as a young child, I think really valuable.
I think so valuable, and it's something that we talk about a lot, at Care Vision and within the care group, in how can we get younger people excited about care? If we're going to have a future, everyone's getting older, everyone's living longer with medical advances, but yet as a society we don't have any focus on that.
No, we don't.
And lots of young people, they might not even sit down with Mum and Dad, with their grandparents, to have a meal together. Everyone's in their own room watching Netflix or whatever it might be. So some of those, the family dynamics and those values get lost along the way. So it was such a valuable part.
A lot of people now, because we grow up and we move away from our families, haven't even got local grandparents. So they've lost that connection with the elderly. A great upbringing, a really good upbringing. And I'm sure you still remember some of those people today.
Oh, we do. It was things that are spoke about today as good quality care. I can give you thousands of examples of how Mum and Dad sort of led the way and showed me that. We looked after a number of war veterans, some of Polish origin, and there was a gentleman called Alexis Schultz who was with us, and he was one of our early residents, and he couldn't speak. But he was an amazing guy, and he was very warm to me and my sister, and Mum and Dad, would have the confidence for us to spend lots of time with him and all of that. We had a great connection with him. And then my mum, in those days, and this is in the late 80s, she then went on a mission to locate Alexis' family.
Oh, wow.
And she realised that he missed that element, and she found out he had a daughter who was back in Poland, and it took her many months, and obviously without the internet and other assistance that we have today, she was determined to do that, and then she put them in touch. And then I still remember the moment when she came and saw Alexi. She thought he had died. So there were countless examples of that kind of care, and again, this combination of business, but also the business of caring and supporting for people. My parents have always said, if you can get that combination, when you're giving back to people, but at the same time looking after yourselves, it can be the best kind of business. So,
absolutely.
So this is really what cemented that interest and that focus into maybe going in a different direction to some of my peers in my generation, and sort of looking to support social care.
Yeah, and I think it's so needed that we've got the providers that have a care head, have an understanding of what care means and what it is, and to have the teaching of your parents to teach you to do that is amazing. And that guy meeting his daughter must have been. Were you actually aware of that happening at the time? You were around.
I was aware, but Mum and Dad have explained it to me more in recent years, and then there's been so many examples of that. You know, we had great relationships with the nurseries, with the schools, even in those days. And these things are becoming more common practice now, and examples of outstanding practice. But again, nobody was guiding them to do that. That was their heart.
Yeah.
And that's the thing in every part of our business, whether it's the care group or on the digital side of things, we do put our heart into it, and that's one of the things that I feel has been a secret of us, you know, developing and evolving over the years. You know.
Yeah, I think with the children coming into, certainly in care homes, we lost that at COVID. We lost it, and we're struggling to get that back. We used to have them coming in singing, coming in and reading to the residents, coming in and the schools would be involved, the nurseries would be involved. I remember one of the care homes used to have the mother and toddler group come in and putting the mat down on the floor and having all the children playing with their mums, with the residents around there. Yeah. And that seemed to, in my experience, stop during COVID, and they're really struggling to get that back again. Yeah. Have you now got children coming into your care homes?
We do. I mean, we're lucky. We've been established in our locations for many years, so we've got those foundations with the relationships very, very strong, and we were able to sort of pick that up again. But there was a lot of work involved with that to get to win back confidence and those things. But we have a great way, and it's been a great focus of our organisations to encourage people to volunteer and to be part of things. So we have connections with the local colleges, and then we have a buddy programme where people of 16 to 18 can come in and spend 30 minutes with Michael and get to know him, and maybe their initial impressions of care would be that, you know, it's going to be smelly and that it's places where abuse goes on, and it's amazing after spending that time in one of our settings how you can turn people around and then they want to come back. And I think that this has got to be a way that we can engage younger people, have that consciousness. In China there's schemes going on at the moment where, as a younger person, if you go to support someone who's on their own, who's older, you can gain a social credit, and then you build up your credits, and then as you get older or in the need of care, you use them for your support going forward. So these kind of initiatives internationally are really interesting to look at, and I think there's some good examples that we can follow.
I think education of our children is paramount, and getting people to understand what we do in care homes. I always described care homes as a Willy Wonka's factory, that the people out there are scared. It's something odd going on in there. There's lots of noises and smells and things coming out of it. And then when you get inside, it's quite magical. But people don't want to go inside. Care home open days were always in the past a really difficult time to get people in. You know, come and see us now while you don't need us. Don't come in emergency when you get to the point where you really need a care home. How do we go about getting people in and bringing them in?
Yeah, I think open days are a great way. I mean, we have a number of events throughout the week, throughout the months. So we have summer barbecues, we have events, open day events for a recruitment perspective, where people can come in and talk to us about those kinds of things. We also have other events where we sort of become a day centre for the day, and we say, you know, anyone from the local community wants to have a haircut or would like some extra help with you know, a really nice bath or a spa session, and again, it's a great way to knock down those barriers, get people coming in, and then as they enter, they're like, wow, I didn't anticipate it to be like this. And then they get involved, they want to become friends of the home, and then the support builds, you know, in that way. So
fantastic. Yeah, it is. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to get the right staff team. It's a challenge to get the regulations met. But you seem like you've got it nailed, and you've got, so your staff teams, do you struggle to get the staff that you need?
Recruitment is always, you know, I'm sure you're talking to everyone, Tina, and recruitment is high on the agenda, as well as national insurance increase and, you know, other factors that, you know, do make it even an even harder environment to provide quality care. But again, from my parents, looking after people and putting your staff as much in their care and support as we do for the people living with us. I think having that sort of focus enables people to stay with you, to feel supported, to want to grow with you. We've been so proud of people coming to join us, not speaking English, but yet having the support and sort of going up through the ranks of our organisation. And they're some of the people that we're most proud of.
Yeah.
Because
some amazing people out there. Some of the carers that are qualified nurses that are coming into the country and working for us and working up to be nurses in nursing homes.
Well, my mum and dad will tell them and talk to them when they come, and part of what we do is that orientation focus, and they'll say, we were just like you.
Yeah.
We came over just like you, and look, we've got our family here, we've built a life for ourselves, so we love that you've come here, we welcome you here, we need you.
Yes.
And we're going to support you. And then when you look after staff in that way, obviously they've got the incentive to stay with you. They want to do the best for you. And of course, it doesn't always happen in that way. But if you've got that ethos and that culture in the organisation, then you're going to hold on to more than go away. You know?
Yeah, fascinating. Thank you. That was a really interesting story, and I knew it would be.
No,
Thank you very
pleasure
much.
to see you, Tina.
Okay.
Thank you.